What's going on, you bunch of heretics? Grab your paint pots, grab your recaf, and let's get some paint on that ever-growing pile of potential. It's here, the heresy is my therapy, Slapchop tutorials. And today, of course, 10th edition brings the agents of the Imperial agents, Inquisitors, the whole shebang. But, for some unknown reason, a key character, probably the most famous of all the Inquisitors, I would argue, Inquisitor Eisnehorn. A guy that's got some incredible books. I mean, like, if you've never read the Eisnehorn series, you absolutely have to, because Dan Abnett, as always, knocks it out of the park. So, I think really for the Imperial agents and the Inquisition, it's only right that today we slapchop the legend that is Inquisitor Eisnehorn. As always, everything you need will be in the description below. And so without further ado, let's get to it. Right then, here he is, Inquisitor Gregor Eisenhorn. The man, the myth, the legend is a wonderful model, an iconic character within the 40k universe. As you can see here, we have primed with Chaos Black, so he's all primed, good to go. Administratum Grey, Ulthuan Grey and White Scar, all Corax White for our next three. We've also got our paint pot, and of course we've got our wet palette, good to go. Some tissues, and of course our paintbrushes. Administratum Grey is going to be our first layer. Give it a good old shake up, pop some on your brush, take it all off. That's it, plenty on the brush. Take it all off, get it all off, all off, all off, all off. I'm gonna go small circles all over the model. Small circles getting in absolutely everywhere. The Slapchop base, I suppose you could call it like a Zenithal base, I suppose, is that what we're calling it these days? I don't know. But as you can see, small circles all over the model, getting in absolutely everywhere. Shadows underneath, the full works, okay? And we're just building this up. A couple of layers on, just to get this guy looking, you know, where we want it to be able to be. Like I said, the Administratum Grey, it's messy. We're just getting it absolutely everywhere, guys. And if you need to, switch over to a smaller dry brush if you want to really get into those nooks and crannies, if you will. Just to get into those nooks and crannies, to get everywhere. Like I said, but just keep it at small circles and just build up the layers. I'd probably put about 2 layers of Administratum Grey, just because it gives it a nice gradual raising up. Once you've done that, grab yourself a clean dry brush and just take off all that excess dry brush paint. Like I say, it will be a bit dusty from the dry brush, so all we're doing, we're just cleaning all that off with a fresh dry brush all over the model. Next up, we've got our Ulthuan Grey, and it's the same again, only this time we're not going to be getting in underneath all the nooks and crannies. All we're going to be doing with this is, as again, put plenty on your brush, plenty on the brush, and of course take it all off, and all we're going to be doing is where the light would shine, so where the light would be going down onto the model, that is where we're going to be applying this. I'm using a bit more of a straight brush here rather than the rounded brush, and again I'm just picking out all of those edges and just kind of roughly going over it again, up and down, small circles, but I'm only going where the light has been shining down, okay? I'm not going underneath the model in any of the shadows, okay? I really want to build up those nice highlights that this Zenithal / speed paint / Slapchop base produces, all right? And same again, there we go. See, I'm gonna get a rounded brush now, and again, I'm just building up another layer of that on top of the model. So again, you want this to be a really nice and bright sort of baseline. This will allow the contrast paints to really do their job, especially when we're mixing different contrast paints in. So is it wet blending? I don't know if it'd even be wet blending. Anyway, we're just creating this base. And same again, grab our clean dry brush and just take off all of that excess paint from the model so that it looks fresh and clean. It's not dusty. Dusty. That's it. Take it all off. Get it all off. Finally, we're going to get some white scar, and this is going to be the same again with this. Remember, plenty on the brush, and of course we're going to take it all off, get it absolutely all off, okay? Absolutely everything, get it all off the brush. Then all we're going to do is quite literally, same again as before, we are down the model, small circles, only in the areas where the light has been touching. You don't want to be going in the shadows for this, okay? So a nice steady amount all over the model. Again, just brighten it where you want to brighten it, okay? And same again, like I say, we're just going to take off all of that excess paint, that excess dry paint off from the model with our clean dry brush, guys. And there he is, ready for Slapchop. Okay, you're gonna need your lime and medium as always. If you want, you can use country music as well. So Basilicum Grey. So we're gonna apply this to the coat. So usually for a base of black, I'd usually use Techlon Turquoise, which we will do for other parts. But for this, this is gonna be for his cloak. Yeah, his cloak's gonna be this like that classic Inquisitor black, you know, real dark. So it's gonna be, like I say, 2 to 1 mix of Basilicum Grey and lime and medium. And all we do, we're gonna apply a generous amount, 2 thin coats, as always, to his coat and sort of like cloth garments, all right? And of course, we're also gonna just pop some on the base as well, okay? And that will come more apparent later on. But like I say, all we're doing is a nice generous helping onto the coat itself. And again, you're gonna build the layers up. So you don't want just one thick coat, just build up thin coats of the Basilicum Grey all over the model. I think someone referred to this now being more of a gentle chop where we're building layers as opposed to just slapping the paint on. But that creates the bit of blotchiness, you know? So anyway, yeah, we're just gently putting on that Basilicum Grey all around his coat, and of course all around the sort of like cloth detail on the model. So on the front here, you know, you've got that, you know, his trench coat coming around him, and of course his holster as well. I'm making that using the Basilicum Grey. But yeah, all around the cloth is what we're going to do on the overside of the cloth, not the underside. And like I say, I've just put on 2 thin coats of this all over those areas that we want. Right, Techlon Turquoise. So this is where we're going to put his actual clothing. So again, while he is going to be in black, it's going to have that sort of like turquoise hue to it. And as we always do with our black clothing, guys, Techlon Turquoise, again, 2 to 1 mix with our lime and medium. And also is going to go on to his kind of like his chest clothing, his arms and his legs. And of course, we also want to do the 2 pauldrons. They're also going to have the Techlon Turquoise in them as well. Yep, so again, like I say, we've done the pauldrons. Now we're just going to go into the trousers. And again, you know, 2 thin coats, you know, into the arms and then areas of the chest as well. All right, and that's going to give us those 2 different areas of the black that we're trying to create. Like I say, nice and thin down. You know, we're never going to go straight from the pot with these. And just build up those layers, okay? We want that nice turquoisey colour. because when we apply the black over the top, it's going to give it a nice turquoisey hue that we love to see. And it will kind of, even though there'll be two different shades of black, if that makes sense, on the model, they will have their own sort of unique look to them. So yeah, so just getting all of those areas. Follow the box art. Hopefully you've got that with you. You'll be able to follow that as well. Or just go online and look at a picture of him and you'll be able to see what we mean. With that applied, we're going to get Black Templar. Okay, Black Templar. With our Black Templar, all we're going to do is we're just going to add that underneath our Basilicum Grey, and this is what we're going to use to create onto the coat that real darkened colour, to give the coat a bit more of a blackened effect without the white underneath coming through too much. So yeah, like I say, mixing it in, don't forget to use your Lamy and medium. Again, 2 to 1 is kind of what we want to be going for here. And all we're going to, again, we're just going to slowly build up those thin layers of paint over the cloak. I'm just using a medium brush here. You know, you can use a small one if you want to, but a medium brush will be absolutely fine. And I'm just moving the paint around. Again, those 2 thin coats will do a real nice job of just now turning the colour of that cloak. So all those areas that we applied the Basilicum Grey to, that's where you're going to apply the Black Templar. Black Templar is nice. It's like not a bluish hue to it, but also you can probably see in the screen it has got almost like a slight tint of a bluey turquoise in it as well, which I really like in Black Templar. I think it's a really nice paint to use. And again, we're just putting that all over those areas. And then again, all I'm doing is just in the recesses of the pauldrons, just to kind of give it a bit of contrast and a bit of like shadowy effect on those areas, just like it is on the box art. Okay, 2 thin coats as always. Okay, now we're going to get our Black Legion. Remember guys, Black Legion is a very heavy paint, so we really need to ensure that we, we mix it into our Black Legion, our Black Templar, and we also make sure that we get our Lamy and medium, and we just pop a little bit in there. We're looking at a 2 to 1 sort of, mix of the 2. All right, and all I'm doing again now is into the clothing. So into the clothing, we're just starting to darken those areas. And again, this just needs to be nice and relaxed, you know, nothing too wild, just slowly build the layers up. Don't go straight from the pot and just throw it in there, okay? You're not gonna wanna do that. Just nice and easy, just build up the layers bit by bit. You know, 2 thin coats. If we want to add a 3rd to really darken it, you absolutely can do. But 2 thin coats should be more than enough in those areas. And again, you can use this Black Legion to really kind of get into the crevices, into those deeper regions, or around the sides, so really kind of make it just a little bit, make those colours pop just that little bit more. The contrast paints do a really good job of doing this, but again, we're really, really gentle, really delicate with this. Getting a smaller brush, my smaller layering brush, and I'm just getting in and just slowly building up. As you can see there, we've really taken away that turquoisey look, and we've darkened it really nicely whilst leaving behind that sort of like turquoisey hue. But please ensure that you do thin this down with your Lamy and medium, and then apply it and build the layers up. Don't rush this on. And of course, get it onto his hair, because he has like the silver fox, if you will. Old boy Gregor. Yeah, just like I say, we're just putting in those layers of Black Legion into his hair. Okay, next up, Skeleton Horde. Again, if you want to use Lamy medium with Skeleton Horde, you can do, but in general, you can. This is kind of one of those paints where you can go straight from the pot to the model. And all we're doing is just on the skulls, and around the base. Is where we're going to apply our Skeleton Horde. And again, you can build these up rather nicely, you know, a couple of layers of this and it will work out exactly how you want it to look. And again, like I said, just around the sort of like door panels, that's where we're going with that. Okay, around the skulls, around that sort of like door frame, around the skull on the top as well. Right, with that applied, we're going to get our classic Gore Grunter fur. And all we're going to do with our Gore Grunter fur is, very simply, onto our palette, get a little bit of Lamy and medium. Again, as always, we're just, 1-to-1, 2-to-1 mix. Again, just thin it down, you can always build up on the layers. And this is going to go on the cuffs. This is going to go on the cuffs. And it's also going to go on his boots as well. Nice shoes, them boots. Yeah. So so on the cuffs, again, 2 thin coats, build these up. So on the cuffs and on his boots is where we're going to apply our Gore Grunter fur. And then of course, classically, we'll go into a bit of Cygor brown with that as well. So again, like I say, Gore Grunter fur in amongst the boots. Hopefully you can see it's okay. I'm trying to angle it as best as possible, and hopefully it's a little bit closer. But yes, 2 thin coats with our Gore Grunter fur. Don't forget to go around the back, because sometimes we forget. I have been guilty of this myself, to be honest with you. Right, so around the back, and just make sure you just build it up. And as you can see, I've got 2 thin coats there, and just trying to get that nice coloration. But again, 2 thin coats should really be all you need. If you want to add a third just to kind of darken it a little bit more, absolutely go for it. Magmadroth Flame. Yep, so again, this is I really am loving the Magmadroth Flame at the moment for use with anything red. Okay, so again, Magmadroth Flame is a great base colour to put on your model when you want to apply red. And all we're doing is the under part of his jacket or his overcoat. So all we're doing is the under parts of the coat. This is going to be in red. Don't forget, we're doing all of the undercoats of red. So like will look quite nice. So that Magmadroth Flame will just sit in there quite nicely. And again, you're going to want 2 thin coats of this. Okay, so we're getting absolutely everywhere. We're going to go, like I say, all the areas that will be underneath, and of course the sides of the coat, around the back of the neck, and also there's like a tab on the, as you're looking at it, the left side of his chest. I'll show you that in a moment. But yes, and there we go, we're just applying it on there. So again, we're building up the Magmadroth Flame, 2 thin coats, all you're really going to need. The reason why we're putting this Magmadroth Flame on is so that when it comes to applying red, the red doesn't look pink. So I've found in the past that when we've applied red onto an area that's not had like a bit of an undertone, it comes out a little bit pinkish. So now I'm choosing to use Magmadroth Flame first. That takes away the pink hue when we apply the red, and that'll make more sense in a moment once we start to apply that. And like I say, guys, we're just getting it everywhere. Okay, with that done, we're gonna go straight to our Flesh Tearers red. It's a bit more of it's a deeper red, which I think looks really nice on top of this Magmadroth Flame. It's the kind of same sort of effect that we used for the World Eaters model. So if you're doing World Eaters, this is a great way to slap chop those. But again, Lamy and medium, 2-to-1 is what we're kind of going for here. And again, all we're doing, we're just putting those into those areas we applied the Magmadroth Flame to. As you can see, I've got the collar, I've got all the the under part of his the under part of his overcoat, if that makes sense. But yeah, all those areas that you've applied that Magmadroth Flame to, we're now going to go over with completely 2 thin coats of Magmadroth Flame with Flesh Tearers red. And as you can see, it really does create a really nice deep red look in the model. I'm a huge fan of this, I have to say. I really do like the way this sits as a combination together to make your reds really kind of just pop. It's a little bit of colour theory as we're doing this. And like I say, around the back of the collar. And I've also got his the big book that he carries. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Levictus Divinitas, something like that. It's basically the book that shall not be named. Right, Cygor Brown. Sorry there guys, I was rambling on a little bit. Cygor Brown, you know what we're going to do with this guy. Cygor Brown, that's going to go where we place our Gore Grunter fur. Make sure, okay, you thin this down with Lamy and medium. You don't want to go straight from the pot with this because it will not look too hot. All right. So yeah, like I say, all those areas that we applied our Cygor Brown, our Gore Grunter fur to, the Cygor Brown just going to go sit in there really nicely and give that Cygor Brown really create a nice deeper brown look. And all I'm doing is just into some of the red areas, so underneath we're just putting a little bit on just to kind of deepen those shadows, just a little bit, nothing wild, just nice and light with it. I then got my Zandhri Dust. You know the routine with this, guys. This is going to be for the skulls, and it's also going to be for his purity seals, the sort of like the cloth tabard parts of his purity seals. And again, you know, on the palette, take a little bit off your fingers, and then just basically place that onto those purity seals on his pauldron. And then of course I'm just putting some on the skulls. You can have them metallic if you want to, but that'll be later on, but I like to have it as a nice bit of a skull look. So the skull on the top of his back, and then of course the one on the base as well. Once done that, we're going to get our Guilliman flesh, and all we're going to do is put a generous, not a generous helping, but a light helping of that. Take the excess off, and just basically we're going to put that into those purity seals where we've applied the Zandhri Dust, and that will just sit in there nicely, creating that kind of nice shadowy areas in those elements of the model. And again, from the pot to the palette, and then just basically, you know, take a little bit off and then put those in those areas. You haven't got to be too stingy with it, you know, just, you know, it doesn't really require much more than just one coat of this, really, to be honest with you. If you want to double up, you can do, and then just into his tabards. Right, the Heretics is My Therapy Slapchop tutorial bit, you know, the classic part now, which is going to be the Zandhri Dust onto a small dry brush. Take absolutely all of it off. Remember guys, we take all of it off, and all we're doing, we're just slowly going over the model. Go with the base first, because the base will give you a rough guideline of how much you've got on the brush. And like you say, you're going to take all of this and just feather dust this all over the model, okay? Just nice and light, nice and easy. Feather dusting, guys, all over the model, and this will just take a little bit of the blotchiness away and give you an additional highlight, or a grimdark highlight, if you will, onto the model. No edge highlight in here, kids. Oh no. Yeah, so like I say, all over the model. Just really take your time and build the layers up with this. As you can see, I'm feather dusting it. Feather dusting it, that's the only way to describe what I'm doing. It's really light. There's next to no paint on this brush, all right? And we're just taking it all off, okay? And we're just feather dusting all over the model. Hopefully, you can see that change in the model. And there he is. Okay, next up we're going to get our Balthasar Gold. Yeah, we're going to get our Balthasar Gold onto our palette. And all we're going to do is the kind of the halo around the top where that skull is. the kind of the cylindrical items on that he's carrying and that are on his back, and of course his on the holster of his weapon as well. On all the chains and all those sort of like lock and key, that's where we're going to apply the Balthazar gold, as you can see here. Alright, and again, 2 thin coats of this, just to kind of build it up. Once we've done that, we're then going to get our Iron Warriors, and again, same again, we're just going to place this on our palette, take a lot of the excess paint off, okay, when we're placing on, so just basically just spar your brush, twist the brush off and away. And all we're going to do with this one is we're going to basically put it on the gun, not the gun casing, but the sort of like the mechanics of his weapon. We're going to place this all around, like the sort of like the chains, the armor plating, the belt buckle, the chains, the edges of the pauldrons. It's all going to go on those areas that we want to have as a metallic look. Okay. Like I said, just be very delicate with this, and again, his staff, we're going to have that in silver as well. The keen-eyed amongst you will also notice that his gloves were also done with the turquoise as well, the turquoise and the black Templar, so I apologise for not getting that part spoken about. But again, like I say, we're just building up on the casings of the weapon system, getting in there, and of course the chains around the book as well. Hopefully that covers everything that we're going to do there. Next, we're going to get our Agrax Earthshade, our liquid talent, if you will. Liquid talent for a reason, guys. And all we're going to do is we're going to place our Agrax Earthshade pot, palette, and we're going to apply a somewhat generous helping of Agrax Earthshade into all of the areas we've applied that Balthazar gold to. Alright, liquid talent, it's called that for a reason, guys. It will do the job you want it to do. It will just sit nicely. It will kind of dull down the Balthazar gold, and it will kind of just give it as a nice bronzed look, and it will obviously sit in the recesses really, really nicely. What's also nice about it, if you do get it on other parts, it will just sit in the recesses and it won't look out of place. And it's called liquid talent for a reason, guys. This and Nuln Oil, which we'll use in a moment, are really going to help you out with your metallics. There we are. Just everywhere we've gone with the Balthazar gold, put the Agrax Earthshade into it. Nuln Oil, okay, is going to be our next point of call, our liquid talent numero 2, and all that's going to do is all the areas you've applied Iron Warriors to, we are now going to just sit that Nuln Oil into. Again, just a great option, and again, if you get it into certain areas, you get it on something with a cloth, it won't matter. The Nuln Oil will just sit in the crevices and just make your model, just add it a little bit of that grimdark to it. So all the areas you've applied your Iron Warriors to, that is where you're now going to apply the Nuln Oil onto, and a somewhat generous helping. Okay, next up we're going to get our Cadian flesh, because we're going to get on with the face. And all we're doing here, guys, is 2 thin coats of Cadian flesh into the face, just like we usually do, just our real easy tabletop level of face painting. Okay, 2 thin coats of Cadian flesh, straight onto him, as easy as that. Okay, and we're just building up that. You want to make sure you do 2 thin coats of this. Okay, please ensure that you do 2 thin coats of this. While that's drying, okay, we're just going to get our a light silver, so it might be Stormhost silver, whichever light silver you've got, and all we're going to do is get our dry brush, And all we're going to do is get a little bit on the top of the brush, take absolutely all of it off, and very, very delicately, again, take absolutely loads of it off, and again, very, very delicately, we're just gonna dry brush some of that silver onto those areas that we've applied the metallics to. That's both the Balthazar Gold and the Iron Warriors. Again, it will create a nice little brushed highlight onto those areas. Okay, and again, if you're very delicate with this, it will just pick up those parts that you want it to and shouldn't go on the rest of the model. But again, use a small dry brush and be very, very sparing with how you apply this. Okay, so just like the Zandhri Dust, take absolutely everything off the brush and just feather dust that Stormhost Silver. Cadian Flesh Tone now dry, and we've done that little dry brush. We're going to grab our classic Guilliman Flesh, and as we always do for our faces, we're just going to apply that Guilliman Flesh into the Cadian Flesh Tone. Again, all over the model, concentrate on the eyes, the nose and the mouth, but otherwise get it all over that face. Again, you only really need the one layer of this. It will do a really nice job of just sitting in the model. Once that's dried, grab our liquid talent, our Igrax Earthshade, and we're just going to pop, again, a little bit of this into the eyes, just to give it that hooded look. So really hood the eyes across the bridge of the nose and around the mouth if you want to. Again, it's nothing fancy here. We're not painting eyes in. We're just doing a really easy way to get the model looking nice for the tabletop. And finally, with our Kislev Flesh, all we're going to do is just a little bit of an edge highlight around the top of the head, around the top of the eyes, on the nose and on the cheeks. Again, take absolutely loads of this off. You don't want to blotch this straight onto your model. Okay, take absolutely loads of this off. Again, and all we're going to do is just pop on the nose, boop, there you go. And then across the head, on the tops of the cheeks, and that'll really be about all you'll need to do for this. Again, it's a really easy little highlight that you can do to make your model, just kind of give it a little bit more of a pop, if you will. And there he is, all done. As you can see, I've kind of like based him with a bit of flock and obviously given it a Rhinox hide base. But there he is, all done, all finished. And hopefully you found this video somewhat useful. If you have, as always, give us a like, leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe, and I really do hope you are enjoying these Slapchop / speed painting tutorials. Anyway guys, signing off for now. See you in the next one. Bye bye.